The Carolina Hurricanes dropped their second game in a row in a shootout to the Buffalo Sabers. Find out what went wrong as well as why has Jamison Reese been reassigned to the Charlotte Checkers. We will talk about that in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of today. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On NHL to get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Oh boy, the Carolina Hurricanes did not look good in this game against the Buffalo Sabers. This was their second consecutive loss, with the first one being to the Dallas Stars, who we talked about that game earlier today. This was a 3-2 loss in a shootout to the Sabers. And like I said, the Hurricanes did not look good in this game. This is the start of a 3-game road trip as well. And one thing I do want to say at the start of this was the Hurricanes' third game in 4 nights, and it showed. Oh boy, they did not look good here. The Hurricanes were able to score. Just 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Tony DeAngelo scored that one. And it came off of some good play. Drury created some space there, to set up Natchez and Bunting, to then set up D'Angelo. And that was good, but outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot. And that was also D'Angelo's first goal since December 15th. He obviously doesn't get a whole lot of chances in his second stint with the Hurricanes, as he's on the third pairing or in the press box most of the time. So, obviously, he's able to end his scoring drought. That's something. But this was not a good game at all. The Hurricanes, like I said, it showed that this was their third game in 4 nights, and Buffalo knew it, plain and simple. Yeah, you were able to go into uh, that that first intermission, with a 1-0 lead. But outside of that, not really a whole lot there. Spencer Martin, he was like the one bright spot, for the Hurricanes. He was the one guy that was rested. That was something Brind'amour mentioned in the post game as well. 8 block shots and 8 saves from Spencer Martin in the first, and they were able to take that lead into the second. But the second's really kind of where things fell off the rails for the Hurricanes. Buffalo came out pushing hard, and they, aside from a little bit here and there, they pretty much controlled the entire second period. Um, the Hurricanes were all out of whack. They literally in the Hurricanes recap, it said, quote, Carolina looked discombobulated on offense. And then went on, to talk some more. Jeff Skinner, was able to, score a power play goal for the Sabres, tying it up at 1. But honestly, what I think, may have been the deciding factor of this game was that Teuvo Teravainen goal that was called off um, for a alleged Jesperi Kotkaniemi hand pass, when multiple camera angles showed that the puck did not even touch his glove. I honestly think that may have been the deciding factor of this game. I think, yeah, it obviously, yeah, it's a big, what could have been type thing, but honestly, when that happened, I think the game, was pretty much just that just sucked any and all momentum, the Hurricanes had and were building. Yes, they were able to score again in the 3rd, but I just feel like, man, yeah, if this one stuck, if someone with a working set of eyes, someone with their contacts in, someone wearing the glasses decided to check a couple other camera angles and would have seen that, oh, he didn't touch it. That goal is good. Uh, but it I don't agree with it. They said play was dead, due to the hand pass, but I don't agree with it. I really don't. No one does. Again, there's multiple camera angles with opposite that literally show he didn't touch it. But it is what it is. But I do feel that that was a pivotal call in this game. You know, you did not even. It wasn't like, oh crap, I committed a dumb penalty. I tripped this guy when I shouldn't have, or I accidentally made a hand pass when I shouldn't have. He literally did nothing, and it just got called off. But it is what it is. But I do feel that that was a pretty big thing in this game that ultimately may have been the deciding factor. It really could have been because obviously you're up, uh, 2-1 at that point. Yeah, Buffalo goes and scores again at the end of the game, but so did you. You'd be up 3-2. It would have been the opposite score. The Hurricanes, win 3-2, and at that point, it would have been in regulation as well. It would never went to overtime and shootout. But it's just a what could have been type thing here, and it wasn't even necessarily a game that the Hurricanes deserved to win either, and this was, just a bad call, that, ended up costing the game, and they played a good one. They did not play a good game either. They got lucky to get a point, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad they got a point, obviously. Obviously, I'm gonna be glad for that. But, yeah, it was definitely Spencer Martin that earned them this point. 3rd period, rolls around, more of the Hurricanes just looking gassed and lethargic and just not like the Hurricanes, plain and simple. Yeah, Marty Necas, he was able to get a power play goal, with a little over 5 minutes left in the game. It did feel at the time like, okay, they're back, and that could have been the deciding factor in that game, but it ended up not being. Owen Power ended up scoring with 70, or ended up scoring or tying the game 73 seconds later. Um, and that was definitely like, oh my God, here we go, going into overtime. Because we didn't get Sebastian Aho, scoring, with seconds left again. We didn't get that again. And then you get into overtime. The Hurricanes for them really dominated possession overtime, but they just couldn't get anything past Buffalo. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their goalie's name. I'm not even going to try. Um, but you get into the shootout. It goes 4 rounds. Casey Middlestat ends up winning it for Buffalo. I did like, in a shootout, what the Hurricanes decided to roll with, or at least in the rounds we saw. Obviously, it could have went differently, but they went Sebastian Aho, Andre Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen, and Martin Necas. I think that's good because we've seen in the past where they go in the shootout, they throw guys in there that questionable. Like, don't get me wrong, we love Jordan Martinook. Maybe not the best guy for a shootout. I like the guys they rolled with. You imagine it had it gone, another round, Seth Jarvis, Brent Burns, those guys would have, maybe even Brady Shea, would have been getting in on the action there, but ended up not being the case. And like I said, Spencer Martin, he was the guy that got them this point. That was something Rod Brind'amour echoed as well in post game, and we will dive into those post game uh, quotes right after this quick break, folks. Our sponsor once again today is Camino Consulting. You've heard of their online families and couples course and take advantage of the locked on 25% discount running to the end of the month. But what about the live seminars? In both sport and business, the challenge is in differentiating candidates and recruits is an endless battle. Everyone can demonstrate their measurables and qualifications, but we all know it's the intangibles that matter when those things are similar. Contact Camino Consulting for their team and management seminars to get a peek behind the curtain and watch your next recruiting class or hiring group become one of the most effective you've ever seen. Both because you identified the right candidates and because you've learned how to communicate and motivate them in accord with their own preferences. But you aren't in business management or working with a team, we pay referrals. Make some money making your workplace and favorite teams better. Every group works together better at the end of year one than week one. So contact Camino Consulting at caminoconsulting.ca and get on the fast track to understanding. Now, getting into the quotes of this game, I've mentioned them somewhat already, but I do want to talk about what these guys had to say. Rod Brind'amour said, Hey, he did not mince words, and we know he does not. Saying, "quote We were pretty awful, to be quite honest. We were just not. We just we were just mentally not there." That's what happens with a tough schedule, 3 games and 4 nights with travel. I could feel it on the bench. We were just not sharp. Thankfully, the one guy that was rested, Spencer Martin, he got us a point. We were not good tonight. End quote. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I got nothing to add to that. He's right. Spencer Martin's the reason they got a point here. Hurricanes look like crap. And again, 3 games and 4 nights with travel. And it won't like it was a short little travel either. It won't like, oh, we got to go up to DC or something like that. No, it won't like that. You had to travel up to Buffalo, New York. It's not a yeah. Yeah, they looked gassed, and I really think that them having yesterday no game yesterday, I do think that's definitely can help them out. And then obviously a bit time zone's a little bit different, so it's hour later start than usual tonight against Minnesota. I think that definitely just having a little bit of extra rest time will help. I'll be interested to see if they do a morning skate against Minnesota. I don't know. As of recording, haven't seen anything, but we'll talk about that when we preview that game. Jordan Stahl kind of said the same thing. Quote, that wasn't great. There wasn't really anyone that showed up and played well besides Spence. We had a little push in the third, but then we got worse. We are fortunate to get a point. We'll move on from here. End quote. Again, really the same thing. They played like crap. Spencer Martin's the reason they got a point. Plain and simple. I mean, everyone's kind of on the same page here. Marty Natchez was described what it mean. Just Marty Natchez describing what needs to be different on offense as Carolina has now scored just 4 goals in 3 games. Quote, definitely get more pucks to the net. Teams change the way they play a little bit. They have more layers of blockers. We need to figure out a way to get to the puck to the net. That's the most important thing. Once it gets blocked, the grind really goes away. We haven't got much ozone time lately, and that's what needs to change. End quote. Yeah, your offense does need work. It does. Because you were seeing it. Again, they were definitely gassed in that game. The exhaustion 110% played a factor in this game. It would to any team, regardless of the sport. You play 3 games in 4 nights, you're gonna be tired. Plain and simple. So I give them a bit of a I'll give them a bit of a break on that because, I wouldn't even be able to be out there. All right. And, for them to, even still be able to go out there and, get a point. Again, it came because of Spencer Martin, but, you know, Martin Natchez still had to score a goal. Tony DeAngelo still had to score a goal for this to even go into shootout for them to even get a point. To me, I'll give them that. I'll give them that. But their offense has really got to do something. And I said before, I feel that, this, could that they need to do something at the deadline to improve their offense, like really do something, not just some random trade deadline move that they tend to do. Not some random money ball depth piece move that you think is going to pay off, big in the playoffs. No, no, go out and make a splash. Go all in. That's what they need to do. They need to go all in to get over this hump. They need to. They do. But ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen there. But they're right. This offense needs, or Natchez is right. The offense needs to change. It does. Plain and simple. It does. I really hope they've been able to get rested ahead of their next game. I do. Again, I cannot stress enough. I really feel that those 3 games in 4 nights really played a factor, and that game against Dallas was tough. That was a tough game. They that wasn't a cakewalk or anything like that. They played their butts off in that game. So if they've, I really hope that they've been able to get some rest. I really do because they need it. They really need the rest. But we'll just have to see what happens, going forward. With the team, heading into this game against Minnesota. We'll talk about that later on today. But an interesting move that happened yesterday was Jamison Rees being reassigned to the Charlotte Checkers, and we will dive into that move as well as what Don Waddell had to say about it right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, we are just over the halfway point of the season. Canes fans, and regardless of where we are in the current standings, I want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Pyotr Kochetkov, or anyone else across the league will record more or less of their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canes fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with a Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code Locked On NHL, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Now, this was an interesting move come out yesterday. That was Hurricanes prospect Jamison Rees being reassigned to the Charlotte Checkers. He was in Springfield Thunderbirds, going to the Charlotte Checkers. And this is an interesting one. They point out here in the write-up that this quote, the move comes after a challenging start to the season for the 23-year-old, as he registered just 3 assists in 30 games with Springfield. in and out of the lineup with the St. Louis Blues affiliate, he'll now get a better opportunity in North Carolina. End quote. Yeah, has not been good for him. I think this is definitely a product of the Hurricanes not having an AHL affiliate. You have your guys scattered all over the freaking place, and you're having guys like this where they are struggling to find footing on teams, and you're moving them to a different one. Um, he had 42 points in 65 games with the Wolves last season, and I really I hope this works out for him. I really do because we've seen him some with the Hurricanes. He has looked really good. He has potential for the Hurricanes, but I really think just this season of them not having affiliate guys are all over the place. I really think it is hurting them. I really do. And Waddell, had this to say. Uh, Quote, "It's not just a hope, it's a must." Uh, this was said during the All-Star break. Quote, "We're in full negotiations as we speak to secure ourselves a spot in the American Hockey League next year. Unless something earth-shattering happens, I think we'll be in a spot where we'll be able to have our full team." End quote. Yeah, no crap, Don. Yeah, it's not just it is a must because you're having guys like this, prospects with potential that are just floundering, can't even stay in the lineup. I just don't get it. And I I get the things take time. I get it. But man, oh man, they've they really screwed themselves with this. I didn't like it when it happened. Of them not having an AHL affiliate and guys just being all over the place. There's no consistency there. And then I really think, we're going to see it come training camp next year with some of these guys where maybe they did not progress as well as we thought they would in this season going into next one. And I really hope, God, I hope that this change of scenery can help Jameson Rees get back to where we know he can perform at because he again is a guy with potential. We've you know tend to like to see him play obviously, and think he could be a guy that is cracking the Hurricanes roster here in the next couple years. But I it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. It really will be. I think that definitely the change of scenery is the best thing for him because yeah, it's not doing good. He was not doing good there in Springfield. And frankly, I'm surprised it took this long to move him. I'm surprised it took this long. It very well could have been because they didn't have anywhere they could send him. It very well could have been. But yeah, that's not good. And this move of not having an AHL affiliate is hurting your prospects. Prime example. You just had a 42 points in 65 games with the Wolves last year. When you had an AHL affiliate, 3 assists in 30 games. That's not good. That's not good. And again, he couldn't even stay in the lineup consistently. So I really, really hope that the change of scenery helps Jameson Rees get back on the right track, get some confidence back. Because if that was me, oh my God, my confidence would be in the basement. I can't even stay in the lineup. I had 3 assists in 30 games. I don't even have a goal over that course of time. I would be I would not be in a good headspace, and I would need a change of scenery. So I really hope that this helps him out. I really do. He's obviously, I know they are the Florida Panthers affiliate, but he is obviously going to be close-ish to Raleigh. Being in Charlotte is about 2.5 hours for those that don't live here. Um, so yeah, it'll be closer to there, so maybe Hurricanes, can keep a closer eye on him, watch his development and all that stuff. We'll just have to wait and see how things pan out for him. But I really hope things pan out well. God, I hope we get an AHL affiliate soon. But we'll talk about all of that AHL affiliate saga as more information becomes available, as well as the Hurricanes' next game against the Minnesota Wild in the next episode. So make sure you are following along on the socials at LO_Hurricanes and myself at Jared Ellis _96. Go subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment on what you think of what the Hurricanes AHL affiliate situation is like. Let me know what you think. Do you have a preference of who the affiliation ends up being with? Let me know whatever you're thinking down in the comment section on YouTube. And as always, folks, let's go Canes.